So what is it that truly sets apart the people who achieve, real success from those who just seem to stay stagnant?
Right.
We've all seen it. Maybe we are those people sometimes, on one side or the other.
Yeah.
You see someone who just effortlessly navigates challenges and reaches these heights that they feel out of reach for so many.
And for a long time, the thinking was all external, wasn't it? It was about waiting for the right moment or knowing the right people.
Exactly, some outside push.
Yeah.
But the sources you provided for this deep dive, they all point in a totally different direction.
They really do. They consistently suggest the real difference isn't external at all. It's internal.
It's how you manage your own mind.
Precisely. It's about how an individual directs the most powerful resource they have.
And that is our mission for today's deep dive. We're going to distill the knowledge from this research to pull out what we're calling the ultimate strategy for success.
And this isn't, just motivational fluff.
No, not at all. This is about putting together a holistic, sort of four-part framework. It's designed to actually reprogram the core beliefs and attitudes that are shaping your results every single day.
And that journey, it really has to start with a foundational understanding of the brain itself. We're going to show you that success isn't just about, hustle and hard work. It's about understanding the biological basis for change.
The brain's incredible capacity to adapt.
Yes, its capacity to build new pathways that are literally aligned with your goals.
Okay, let's unpack this because it has some real scientific weight behind it. The sources all emphasize that our minds are, just incredibly powerful tools.
They can be.
They can be an absolute propeller driving you forward, or they can be the heaviest anchor imaginable, holding you back with beliefs you don't even know you have.
And the key to unlocking that power, as you said, is getting the science of change. And the core concept here, the big one, is, of course, neuroplasticity.
I have to say, seeing the actual mechanism behind this was a huge aha moment for me in the material. For you listening, you've probably heard the term, but it's so critical to grasp the implication.
It is.
Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself, to literally form new neural connections.
It means the physical structure of your brain is not fixed. That's the part that I think is so hard for people to really internalize.
Right, it's not set in stone.
No, it's constantly remodeling itself based on what you focus on, what you ask it to do, and, what you consistently believe. So when the sources talk about reprogramming, that's not a metaphor.
Well, it literally.
Yes. They are describing the intentional use of your mental energy to reinforce the pathways you want.
And the implication for you listening is just massive. This ability means we can literally learn, adapt, and change throughout our entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
So when we practice new thought patterns, whether it's affirmations, a new skill, a new mindset, we are physically laying down new reinforced neural structures.
Mm-hmm. And speeding up the signals along those new pathways. It's a physical process. You're replacing the old, worn-out, self-limiting beliefs with these high-speed neural networks.
And that is what creates the fertile ground for success the sources mentioned.
Exactly. What's so fascinating here is that the 4 strategies we're about to talk about, they aren't just feel-good motivational tactics. They are based on physically leveraging the brain's natural ability to adapt and build these new circuits.
So let's jump right into the first 2 active tools for that physical rewiring. Let's start with the one the sources call the most powerful strategy, affirmations.
Right. So these are positive, present tense statements that reflect your goals, your desired state.
But the key isn't just the statement itself, is it?
No, not at all. It's the consistent repetition. And this is crucial, the emotional investment. If you just repeat a phrase like a robot, your conscious mind, your critical brain will just reject it instantly.
It'll say, that's not true.
Exactly. It'll say, look at your bank account or remember that project that failed.
Okay, so that sounds almost too easy, which I think is where some skepticism comes from.
Mm-hmm.
If all you have to do is repeat a statement, why isn't everyone successful? What did the sources say about that resistance?
The material really stresses that the repetition has to be combined with feeling. You have to embody the statement. You're not just trying to convince your conscious mind. You're trying to bypass it and install the belief directly into the subconscious.
The part of the mind that operates without that critical filter.
Yes. The real power comes when the affirmation actually feels like the truth.
That makes so much sense. It's the difference between just saying, I am wealthy, and actually feeling the confidence and, I don't know, the resourcefulness of a wealthy person.
Mm,
The sources gave a great example of this for someone struggling with deep professional self-doubt.
right. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes or what they think they can't do, the focus shifts entirely to competence and future capability. The affirmations they used are really potent examples.
Like,
Things like, I am capable of achieving great things, or I possess the skills and talents needed to succeed, and I use them daily. Very active.
and I really like this reframing one. Every challenge I face is an opportunity for growth.
Yes.
That consistency, especially when you combine it with that emotional charge you mentioned, it gradually replaces the negative self-talk. It's like you're scrubbing the old limiting script from your subconscious.
Precisely. And if affirmations are the internal script we write for the mind, then visualization is the full high-definition movie we show it.
Okay, so that's our second tool, visualization.
Yeah.
This involves mentally picturing yourself achieving your goals,
Yeah.
but, and the sources were very clear on this, not in some vague, abstract way, you have to engage all of your senses.
That sensory richness is the critical detail. It creates a complete experience for the brain.
Why is that so important?
Because the subconscious mind doesn't really distinguish perfectly between a vividly imagined event and a real one. So by engaging sight, sound, smell, and especially feeling, you create this deeply rooted blueprint for success.
A blueprint.
A blueprint that the subconscious starts treating as a future reality it needs to work towards.
So let's use that example of someone starting their own business. They don't just think, oh, I hope I make money.
No, they get into the detail. They visualize walking into their finished office space. Maybe they can hear the bustling energy of their team. They can smell the fresh coffee.
They can feel the texture of the polished wood on the conference table.
Exactly. They picture themselves in a key moment, like closing a huge deal with a client, and they're watching their business grow in real time.
And most importantly, they're not just seeing it. The visualization has to include feeling that sense of pride, of calm accomplishment as their vision comes to life.
Yes, you're creating an emotional and a sensory anchor for the future you want.
And by immersing yourself in these visualizations regularly, you start to subtly align your daily actions and even your instant decisions with that desired future. It's like you're being pulled towards it.
That's a great way to put it. So we've established the active rewiring tools, the mental exercise equipment, if you will.
Affirmations and visualization.
Right. Now we need to transition into the mindset aspects. This is the soil in which these new neural pathways have to grow. And the first critical ingredient here is gratitude.
This is a component that I think often gets kind of relegated to a secondary feel-good practice. But the sources define it specifically as the attitude of success, a non-negotiable part of the strategy.
And if we connect this back to neuroplasticity, gratitude is the mechanism that fundamentally shifts your attention. The brain, by default, has a negativity bias.
We're wired to look for threats, scarcity.
We are. Gratitude forces a cognitive shift from that scarcity to abundance.
And that deliberate cultivation of abundance is what opens us up to receiving more positivity and, well, more success. It's not about ignoring your problem.
Not at all. It's about recognizing that you already possess resources, skills, and blessings that just, go unnoticed most of the time.
This shift is so vital. By acknowledging and appreciating what's already there, you're basically training your brain's internal filter to look for more positive opportunities instead of just dwelling on lack.
Right. So how do we make this practical? It can't just be some vague feeling. And the sources were very specific about daily practices.
They were. They outlined a few concrete ways to incorporate it into your routine. The most common one was keeping a gratitude journal.
And writing down, what was it, 3 things?
3 things you're thankful for each day. Why 3? Is there a neurological reason for that number, or is it just easy to remember?
The material suggests that 3 is kind of the sweet spot. It's enough to force your brain out of its habitual negative pattern, but it doesn't demand so much effort that you quit.
The sustainable.
It's sustainable. It optimizes that balance between effort and the impact it has on your mood regulation. It's just enough to disrupt the cycle.
I love that. It's the difference between having an intention and actually implementing it. It's also about actively expressing gratitude to other people, the ones who have supported you. It reinforces that positive loop externally.
And internally, it means taking a moment to reflect on past achievements, no matter how small they seem, and really recognizing the progress you've made.
Which reinforces that positive narrative of growth and capability. And that leads us right to the final piece of the puzzle.
Embracing a growth mindset.
This might be the most challenging cognitive shift for a lot of people. It's the core belief that our intelligence, our skills, our abilities, they aren't fixed.
Right. They can be developed, they can be enhanced through dedication, effort, and feedback.
And what this means for you, the listener, is a fundamental paradigm shift in how you process failure.
Yes. If you have a fixed mindset, a setback is proof. It proves you weren't smart enough or good enough, so you retreat.
But the growth mindset, it sees those same challenges not as these barriers that define you, but as essential opportunities to learn and grow.
It sets you up for continuous improvement. It ensures that that fertile ground we talked about doesn't just, lie fallow.
Let's use that specific example from the sources. Someone faces a major career setback, a project fails, or they miss a big promotion.
Okay. The fixed mindset person internalizes that failure. That's it. They're done trying to advance.
But the person with the growth mindset, who is leveraging this whole strategy, they analyze the situation instead of seeing it as a personal failure.
They see it as a valuable, if costly, learning experience.
Exactly. They analyze what went wrong, they identify where they can improve in their strategy or their skills, and they make adjustments.
So the setback isn't a dead end that just confirms they're inadequate. By analyzing and adjusting, they transform it into a genuine stepping stone.
They're actively using that feedback loop to refine their approach, which is, precisely how abilities and intelligence are physically developed over time through those new neural connections we mentioned.
It is the ultimate expression of control over your results. You're defined not by the challenge, but by your thoughtful, intentional response to it.
That constant analysis and adjustment ensures continuous improvement, which, frankly, is the only way to sustain success in the long run.
It's the opposite of stagnation.
So let's bring it all together. What does this mean when you combine these four powerful components?
Well, the sources are clear. The ultimate strategy isn't in any single technique. It's not just doing affirmations or just keeping a journal.
It's the holistic approach.
It's the synergy. Affirmations write the script. Visualization provides that emotional blueprint. Gratitude protects the field from negativity and scarcity.
And the growth mindset ensures you keep iterating and improving based on real-world feedback.
Exactly. Success, according to this deep dive, isn't some destination you just arrive at through luck.
It's a cultivated state, a way of thinking, of being, and of consistently showing up in the world.
And if you look at the source material, the consistent message is about that cultivation and consistency. These aren't things you do once. They are habits that, when you integrate them, pave the way for a mind that is primed to seek out and create success.
That's how you unlock that boundless potential. So since the whole point of this deep dive is alignment, making sure your daily actions are consciously aligned with your goals, we want to leave you with a couple of actionable thoughts to start with right now.
If success is truly a state of internal being, and we know we have the power of neuroplasticity to rewire our limiting beliefs, what one self-limiting thought are you ready to target with a single positive affirmation, starting this very moment?
And to signal your commitment to abundance, what one specific thing, an opportunity, a resource, a supported person in your life, what one thing will you write in your gratitude journal today to begin protecting and fertilizing that ground for growth?